is an example of how you can extract the maximum value of the advisor artificial intelligence component for Curator. Let's take a look at one offense, and this is, I'm showing the new UI, but this works the same on the traditional UI. So first of all, you see that, and this is shown, is highlighted in the new UI. This is telling you that this particular offense is high priority. So let's go there and see what does that mean. Now, instead of you going through all these 307 events and logs and try to understand here and there, in here it tells you right there that these are the rules that fire. But this is not the main reason why it's actually came to that conclusion that this is a high priority. What it did, it took all the IOCs in those, 307 events, all the unique IOCs that were in there, and analyzed them. An advisor is very good at knowing what is toxic and how things work with one another, how relevant they are. And it has its algorithm, and based on the toxicity and relevance of the IOCs in all those events that contribute to this offense, is telling you right there, this doesn't look like a false positive. You should invest your time in it. That's piece of value number one. But then the second thing that it does is that in the graphic analysis, and this is a case of a severe attack, I like to always, because sometimes there can be too much data there, I like to go by stages. Stage number one of the investigation is very simple, has only these things in here. 2 IPs that are bad, and that's why they are colored yellow, and this is the workstation involved in there. This is a user where everything began, and this is another high value workstation. This is from the asset database, so very little data, but this offense fire. And why is it that is bad? But these things are probably very toxic, and again, you can click on any one of these and see this is actually pretty toxic and fairly relevant, and you can see the threat information feed in there. So that's one of the reasons. But there's more, because on the second stage, advisor goes ahead and look at IOCs that have 1 or 2 degrees of separation from these two. As you can see here, that this thing has 2, and has a level of toxicity and relevance big enough for it to tell you about, which is very good, because you may see some of these blue stuff, or actually you want to prepare yourself to make sure that if some of those blue IOC comes into your organization, that you are ready to detect them. And you even have information about threat organizations, and it can help you understand who's behind this attack. So you can click here and see what is that equation group, and you can see that here this is Talos reference, and you can, I think that there's another one there. Yeah, let's take a look at this one. And this is here is SecureList and Kaspersky, and you can get VirusTotal, you can get all sort of threat intelligence feeds that can help you understand who's behind it, and you can export those manually or automatically into your reference sets. More on that later. That works with your rules to make sure that if any one of these blue things touches your environment, you are ready for it, and that those things are in reference sets for the third stage of the attack, and you'll see what I'm referring to. Let's go to the third stage of attack. So now what Curator does is perform one heck of a search in all the other offenses, because if other offenses like these ones, for example, notice that it has the same user. And why they are different offenses? Well, because they are indexed. The logic for the rule, you can only index on one parameter, and the first one was indexing on, for example, on source IP, and this one are indexing on user ID, and that's why they are separate offenses, but they definitely are related. And in here you can see all those relationships in a single view. But one important thing is that what is it that this thing searches? Well, it searches not only on the IOCs that were on those offenses, but also goes and searches on your reference sets that you tell the tool to search for. So let's actually go into Advisor and search and see how you set that up for it to work well. This is important. because otherwise advisor will miss some of the things. Let's go first here on this threat intelligence mapping. Notice that in here I have put the reference sets that contains hashes, IP addresses, and URLs that I want advisor to search on the third stage, on that green stage of the investigation. And this, if you don't put that data here, then you're missing quite a bit. Particularly if you are leveraging the threat intelligence app, which I like because it has very curated data, and I have done videos on it. Now, notice that I'm pointing here to this XFE, ATF, for example, in here, command and control. These are malware, these are phishing, and here there's some other for the URLs, right? So notice, let me actually bring the threat intelligence app. In here, when you click here on the threat intelligence app, this is where it puts the data every hour, if you set it to every hour or however often. If you have the threat intelligence app, I think that you should have it every hour. So two things, and I did a video that shows on how you find out whether any one of your rules are using these reference sets, and if they are not, you need to modify your rules and make sure that they leverage this data. Otherwise, this data is getting there, and it's going to be used by an advisor when it makes the third stage of the investigation, if you have it configured to do so. But you want to also have rules that proactively fire on that, right? So that's something very important on the configuration of advisor. Let's actually go back to that configuration page and see the other piece that is important. And this is the property mapping. This is where, how does advisor knows that this is a signature, that this is a hash, that this is, the different components that it uses to perform its searches. Well, you need to have that mapping in here. The tool has gotten a lot smarter, and sometimes when you go here, it will suggest you, say, well, I think that this is, but I'm not sure that this is a hash. Is that the case? And you say, yeah, I accept the suggestion. And then that's how, when the IOCs are extracted from the offenses data, all the offenses, all the IOCs that are in that offense, if you don't have that mapping, then that information is not going to be sent to advisor. You're going to be missing that. So I hope that this short video tells you a few of the things that you need to make sure that you are following in order to leverage the most value out of advisor.